A high school chemistry teacher cooked meth, built an empire, and destroyed not only those who crossed him, but also those who loved him. We called it the greatest TV show ever made. This is the story of Walter White, a man who had 2 years to live and chose to spend them becoming a monster. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Walter White is a 50-year-old high school chemistry teacher. He's got a pregnant wife, Skylar, a teenage son, Walter Jr., who's suffering from a disability, and bills stacked higher than his self-esteem. After teaching chemistry all day, he washes cars as a part-time job. He's way too smart for his job, gets paid very little, and is completely invisible. He works 2 jobs just to keep the lights on, teaching ungrateful teenagers about chemistry they'll never use, then scrubbing SUVs at a car wash where his own students mock him. This is his life. And then comes the diagnosis: lung cancer. He has 2 years to live, if not less. Most people would collapse, break down, call their loved ones. Not Walt. He's been invisible his whole life. A brilliant mind wasted on substitute teaching. And now, he's got an expiration date. So instead of mourning, Walt starts calculating medical bills, family expenses, and funds for a daughter who isn't even born yet. The math doesn't work. Even with insurance, he can't afford the treatment. His family will be left with nothing. Then, an opportunity presents itself in the most unexpected way. He goes on a ride-along with his DEA agent brother-in-law to a meth lab bust. He sees money, mountains of it. During that bust, Walt spots a kid running from the scene. Jesse Pinkman, his former student, a dropout, and now a drug dealer. He doesn't turn him in. Instead, he hunts him down and makes an offer that sounds insane. You know the business, and I know the chemistry. I was thinking we could partner up. You want to cook crystal meth? That's right, you, Mr. White. And somehow, Jesse agrees. They buy a beat-up RV and drive it to the desert. They start cooking. Walt strips to his underwear because meth fumes are toxic. In his tighty-whities, he's not exactly Scarface, more like a giant toddler. But a master in chemistry. Jesse's been cooking wrong his entire career. His secret ingredient? Chili powder. Walter White changes the formula, and the result is perfection. This is the beginning of a drug empire that would soon topple over everything that dares cross its path. Jesse immediately starts selling, but things instantly get tricky. 2 dealers try to rob them. Walt locks them in the RV and cooks up poison gas. One dies instantly, but the other, Crazy 8, survives. They flip a coin to decide who kills him. It lands on Walt. He can't do it for days. He brings him sandwiches and talks to him like they're friends. But eventually, he realizes there's no other way. He strangles him with a bike lock, less than a week into his criminal career, and his body count is already at 2. Meanwhile, Jesse's dissolving the other body in acid. Walt told him to use plastic. Jesse uses his ceramic bathtub instead. The acid eats through everything and crashes through 2 floors, along with the corpse. This is too much for Walt, so he immediately gets out of the drug business. But his medical bills start piling up. Cancer treatment is expensive. On top of that, he's got baggage. Years ago, he co-founded a company that's now worth millions, but he sold out his shares for a very small amount. When his rich buddy offers to pay for treatment, Walt refuses. His pride will not allow it. He would rather cook meth than accept charity, so he gets back in and decides to do things differently. Instead of directly selling on the streets, they find someone who will buy all they can make and sell it themselves. They find Tuco Salamanca. He loves their product, but beats up Jesse unconscious and steals everything. Walt marches into Tuco's office. He's bald from chemo. He looks badass, brave. He gives himself a new identity: Heisenberg. In his hand, he holds what Tuco believes is a bag of crystal. This is not meth. Tuco looks confused. Walt throws a crystal on the ground, and an explosion follows. Windows shatter. When the smoke clears, Walt's still standing. Tuco is shocked, but Walt's bravery and insane stunt impress him. On top of that, the meth he made sold like crazy. A deal is made. They start supplying Tuco regularly. To keep up with the demand, Walter and Jesse steal a barrel of methylamine, a new ingredient that turns their product blue. It didn't matter. Tuco loves it. But he is unhinged. He beats his own partner in front of them. Walter and Jesse immediately decide to eliminate Tuco before he eliminates them. Walt makes ricin, a deadly poison. But before they can use it, Tuco kidnaps them. He takes them to his uncle's house. Uncle Hector. He's an old man in a wheelchair who can communicate only by ringing a bell. Like a cat. Ding, ding, ding. Walt tries to poison Tuco's food with the ricin, but Uncle Hector sees it. He rings his bell frantically. A fight breaks out, but they manage to escape just as Hank, Walt's DEA brother-in-law, shows up. A gunfight breaks out, and Tuco dies. Walt fakes a memory loss to explain his disappearance. Not everyone buys it. but the family is just happy to get him back. His cancer also goes away, but only temporarily. More than that, he's broke. So he decides to continue cooking. Jesse brings in dealers, and the business booms. The streets start spreading stories about Heisenberg, a new mysterious drug lord, leaving bodies and blue meth everywhere. Walt doesn't correct it. Fear is good for business. That was until Badger got arrested. Enter Saul Goodman. Hi, I'm Saul Goodman. Did you know you have rights? The Constitution says you do. He's a sleazy lawyer from bus bench ads, but he's good at his job. He gets Badger off. Then he tells Walt about someone bigger who can help their business. Not someone crazy and unhinged like Tuco. Someone who treats their criminal career like a CEO. Careful and professional. Gustavo Fring, a normal-looking businessman who owns Los Pollos Hermanos. Behind the scenes, he runs a ruthless drug empire that earns millions. A meeting is set up, but Jesse shows up high. The deal almost falls through until Walt meets with Gus alone. He figures out his identity, and they make a deal. Gus Fring, can I help you, sir? Diet Coke, please, and 5 minutes of your time. What can I do for you? Have a seat, please. I sat here yesterday waiting to meet with someone. I believe that person was you. Jesse, on the other hand, has fallen in love with a woman named Jane, a recovering addict who starts doing drugs with him. Their addiction spirals, and it's affecting Walt and Jesse's business. Walt misses the birth of his daughter doing the deal alone because Jesse gets too high with his new girlfriend. Jane blackmails Walt for Jesse's money. Walt pays them. They plan to run away and get clean, but first, one last hit. Walt returns to Jesse's house in an attempt to talk things over, but instead finds them passed out. Then, Jane starts choking, overdosing. Walt could save her, but before he does, he weighs the options. He allows her to die. In his mind, he did it to save Jesse. In reality, he did it because he needed him for his drug empire. Jesse wakes up next to Jane's lifeless body. Destroyed, he decides to get clean. Walt's plan works. However, Jane had a father, an air traffic controller. He's so heartbroken that he causes a mid-air collision. Hundreds die, all because Walter let one girl die. Meanwhile, Walt's marriage starts to crumble. Skylar knows something's wrong. The lies, the mysterious phone calls, the disappearance, the unexplained injuries. She kicks him out of the house, changes the locks, and skirts his phone calls. He attempts to win her back. He brings pizza over as a peace offering, but Skylar refuses to let him in. In frustration, he throws the entire pizza onto the roof. It lands perfectly, still in the box. Eventually, Walter can't take it anymore. Finally, the two talk about the truth, but only after Skylar figures out an important detail about Walt's secret double life. I know you're a drug dealer. Marijuana. No? What is it? Is it cocaine? Methamphetamine. Skylar is horrified, disgusted, but she doesn't turn him in, because that would destroy their family. Instead, she starts an affair with her boss, Ted, just to hurt Walt. The marriage is officially in shambles. Meanwhile, Walt and Jesse start cooking for Gus. Not in an RV, but in an underground lab complete with everything they will ever need to cook batches upon batches of meth. Gus wants Walt to work with his chemist Gale, but Walt insists on working with Jesse. While all of this is happening, the consequences of Tuco's death start to creep in. The Mexican cartel sends twin enforcers, Tuco's cousins, after Heisenberg. But Gus redirects them to Hank, the man who actually shot their cousin. The twins ambush him, but a phone call warning him of their attack allows him to prepare. He gets shot multiple times, but he manages to fight back. He kills one on the spot, and the other dies in the hospital. Now Hank needs expensive physical therapy, and Skylar's got a solution. I wish there was something we could do to help. Walt, we could always pay their bills? No, please, it's tens of thousands of dollars. We got the money. More than enough. Walt's earned it. This allows Walt and the family to essentially show off some of his money. They buy awesome cars, and they launder everything. They buy the car wash Walt used to work at. Now, he owns it. More importantly, however, their marriage is starting to work again. Jesse's life starts to look up too. He's got a new girlfriend. Everything's good until he finds out that his girlfriend's little brother deals drugs for Gus. Jesse gets mad. He deals with Gus personally and forces him to let the kid walk away. Gus agrees, but he orders his handlers to kill him anyway. Jesse loses it and plans to kill the handlers. Before he could do it, Walt steps in and runs them over with his car. Gus is angry. Secretly, he props up Gale to replace Walter, but he sees this coming. He knows Gus plans on killing him, but before that could be done, Walter has Jesse kill Gale. Now Gus can't kill them. They're important to the drug empire. Gus's replacement was now gone, but Walt knows Gus was the real danger he needed to eliminate. Gale was just in the way. Gus decides to prop Jesse up next. He was to be Walt's replacement. Gus's head of security, Mike, starts to take him on ride-alongs. Then, Gus takes him to Mexico, where he kills everyone with poisoned tequila. This was revenge for the death of his partner 20 years ago, and his final target, the person who shot his partner, was none other than Hector Salamanca. During this trip, Jesse proves he can cook as well as Walt. Gus knew he was ready. He wants Walt dead, but Jesse promises to work for Gus if he keeps Walt alive. So instead, Walt is fired. He assumes he's marked for death. Meanwhile, Jesse's girlfriend's son, Brock, gets mysteriously sick. Jesse's ricin cigarette is missing. He immediately assumes Walt is behind it, so he confronts him. However, during this encounter, Walt convinces him that Gus is responsible. So, Jesse helps kill Gus. They do it in the one place where Gus is vulnerable. Hector Salamanca's nursing home. Walt approaches Hector and makes him an offer. The next time Gus visits, Hector rings his bell, which activates a bomb under his wheelchair. Boom! Half of Gus's face is blown off. He walks out, adjusts his tie, and collapses. Gus is dead. Now, it's Walt's drug empire. Heisenberg has toppled the king, and the throne was his. Plot twist. Brock wasn't poisoned with ricin. It was actually a plant called Lily of the Valley. Walt has the same plant in his backyard. He poisoned a child to manipulate Jesse. Again. So, the pair continues to build up their empire. They cook inside fumigated houses, work with Gus's old network, and rob a train for methylamine. Everything goes perfectly, except a kid sees them. Todd, their new helper, shoots him without hesitation. After this, Jesse and Mike want to retire, but Walt wants to expand. But before they could, Mike needs to pay 9 guys in prison for their silence. Walt hesitates, but eventually agrees. But before the payment could be made, Mike's lawyer gets caught. Mike has to run. Before he could, Walt shoots him. He's off the chessboard. Then, Walt hires Todd's uncle's gang. Instead of paying them off, Walt decides to kill all 9 prisoners at the same time. He allows Jesse to retire. Now the drug empire was all his. He's making absurd money. I'm talking about a storage unit full of cash. But then, his cancer returns. He decides to spend his remaining days with his family. Walt retires too. Everything goes well. Until one day, during a family gathering at Walt's house, Hank goes to the toilet. And he reaches over for reading material and grabs a book, Walt Whitman poems. He flips through it casually and sees writing on the inside cover. To my other favorite WW, it's an honor working with you. Fondly, GB. Hank's face goes white. His hands start shaking. G.B. Gale Boedeker, the chemist who was murdered. Hank investigated that case, saw this exact handwriting in Gale's apartment, in his lab notebook, and those initials, W.W. Walter White. Hank's brother-in-law, the man he took on ride-along, who paid for his physical therapy with so-called gambling money, is Heisenberg, the very same he's been chasing for the past year. The man Hank's been hunting was sitting across from him at Sunday dinner all along. Meanwhile, as Jesse was about to leave town to start a new life, he figures out the truth about Brock, about the ricin, and about Walt manipulating him. High and angry, he runs to Walt's house and attempts to burn out, but Hank stops him. He convinces him to testify against Heisenberg instead. They hatch a plan, fake a photo of Walt's money being discovered, send it to him, and watch him panic. It works like a charm. Walt sees the photo, loses his mind, and drives out to the desert where he's been hiding barrels of cash. It doesn't take long for him to realize it's a trap. He believes Jesse is out to kill him, so he calls Todd's uncle Jack and tells him to come save him and kill Jesse. But then, he sees him, and his brother-in-law Hank is with him. He tells Jack to call the attack off. Too late, Jack arrives with his gang of white supremacists. A massive shootout happens in the desert. Hank is outgunned. Walt is begging for his brother-in-law's life, but Hank knows it's over. He looks at Walt one last time, his face blank. He's accepted his fate. You're the smartest guy I know, but you're too stupid to see he's made up his mind 10 minutes ago. Before Hank could even finish his sentence, bang! Jack fires his gun, and Hank is no more. And it's all because of Walt, all because of his drug empire. The gang takes Walt's money and leaves him 1 barrel. Walt also gives them Jesse, but instead of killing him, they chain him to a warehouse so he can continue cooking for them. He tries to escape once, so they kill his girlfriend in front of him. The son is next. They warn him, should he ever try to escape again. Walt makes it home and his family discovers he killed Hank. Now, his own family is against him. Walt stands completely alone. With nothing else to do, he runs. He has a new identity and lives out his life in a cabin, dying and alone. He tries to send his son money, but he refuses. He wants nothing to do with him. You killed Uncle Hank. Months pass, and Walt's got nothing left, so he makes one final move. He returns home and retrieves the ricin he's been hiding all this time. He visits Skylar one last time. He apologizes, And for the first time since entering the drug business, he finally tells her the truth. I did it for me. I liked it. I was good at it. I was alive. He poisons Lydia, Gus's methylamine supplier, with the ricin. Then he heads for Jack, Todd's uncle. He had nothing but his wits and brains with him. A drug empire in one person. He needs nothing else. The gang brings out Jesse, chained, beaten, and broken. Walt tackles him and pops his truck. A remote-controlled machine gun pops out and takes out the whole gang. He saved Jesse, and now he's going to allow him to kill him. Do it. You want this. Say you want this. Nothing happens until I hear you say it. I want this. But then Jesse sees Walt's torso. He's bleeding. He's been shot. And he wants to die. That's enough. He drops his gun and leaves, but not before looking back at Walt, his former teacher, and eventually drug business partner. He nods and drives away in a Camino. Jesse is free. And in a way, so is Walt. His freedom is on its way. He enters the lab. The scene is familiar. He collapses on the floor as cops come. Walter White is dead, and so is his drug empire. That's how Breaking Bad ends. Not with glory. Not with victory. Not with Walt riding off into the sunset rich and powerful, but with a dying man bleeding out in a warehouse. The high school chemistry teacher who built an empire on lies, manipulation, and death. He killed hundreds. For what? For blue meth, for a drug empire he built in the desert with nothing but chemistry and guts. 50 years old to 52? 2 years. That's all it took. 2 years to transform from invisible to known and feared. From Walter White to Heisenberg. From chemistry teacher to drug lord. And that's the story of Breaking Bad's drug empire. Built on blue meth, destroyed by pride,